The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors have been proudly serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home who is genuinely concerned with your care. At J.W. Williams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcements for the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Ms. Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr. Thank you, and good morning, friends. We come to you this morning to bring announcements, dedications, and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after viewing our program. The family of Miss Janita LaShawn Smothers of Vienna, Georgia, the family of Ms. Robin Lynn Appling of Danville, Virginia, formerly of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mrs. Viola Burton Williams of Americus, Georgia, the family of beloved retired educator Mother Betty Jean Beverly Robertson of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mr. Arthur R. McWhite Jr. of Bloomfield, Connecticut would like to thank all of their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. Miss Shanita LaShawn Smothers, age 50, of 310 Collier Street, Vienna, Georgia, died Monday, January 15th at the Crisp Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Shanita LaShawn Smothers was held Sunday, January 21st in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Reverend Roosevelt Sanders officiated. The burial followed at the Evergreen Cemetery in Pinehurst, Georgia. Survivors include her beloved aunts and uncles, Miss Sandra Wells, Mr. Robert Wells, Miss Cherie Henry, Miss Maxine Smothers, and Mr. Wilbert Smothers. Her beloved cousins, Miss Deborah Brown of Vienna, Georgia, Mr. Michael and Mrs. Nancy Brown of Atlanta, Georgia, Mrs. Debbie and Mr. Darren Young of Vienna, Georgia, Ms. Velma and Mr. David Daniels of Baltimore, Maryland, and Mr. Donald Brown of Cordele, Georgia. A host of other relatives and friends survived Ms. Janita LaShawn Smothers, age 50, of 310 Collier Street, Vienna, Georgia. Ms. Robin Lynn Appling, age 63, of Danville, Virginia, formerly of Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, January 13th at Savah Health in Danville, Virginia. The funeral service for Ms. Robin Lynn Appling was held Tuesday, January 23rd in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Dr. Frankie Harmon, pastor of New St. Stephen's Church, officiated. Survivors include her loving and devoted daughter, Ms. Megan Appling Lester of Danville, Virginia. Her beloved children of her heart, Mr. Ryan Pessin and his wife, Ms. Michelle Pessin, and Mr. Justin Pessin and his wife, Ms. Jill Pessin of Pennsylvania. 4 grandchildren, her loving sisters, Ms. Rosalind Mason of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Ms. Alicia Appling of Warner Robins, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Capers Shanks of Jonesboro, Georgia, Mr. Larry Shanks of Jacksonville, Florida, Mr. Marvin Shanks of Cordele, Georgia, Mr. George Appling Jr. of Riverdale, Georgia, and Mr. Gary Appling of Cordele, Georgia. Her aunts and uncles, Mr. Marvin Lowe and his wife, Mrs. Tempe Lowe, Mr. Jerry Lowe, Mr. James Lowe and his wife, Mrs. Maxie Lowe, Mr. Nathaniel Lowe and his wife, Ms. Magnolia Lowe, Miss Dorothy Lowe and her husband, Miss Dorothy Williams and her husband, Mr. Gus Williams, and Miss Jeanette Morgan and her husband, Mr. Eddie Morgan. A host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive. Miss Robin Lynn Appling, age 63, of Danville, Virginia, formerly of Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Viola Burton Williams, age 54, of 168 Carter Fish Pond Road, Plains, Georgia, died Wednesday, January 17, at the home of her beloved mother in Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Viola Burton Williams was held Friday, January 26, in the sanctuary of Whole Truth International Ministries in Americus, Georgia. The pastor, Reverend George F. Muntz, officiated. The burial followed at the Great Cedar Spring Church Cemetery in Plains, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted husband, Mr. Sherman Williams, Jr. of Plains, Georgia, her loving and devoted children, Miss Portia Burton and Miss LaJayla Williams of Americus, Georgia, and Miss Shakita Burton of Plains, Georgia. 4 beloved grandchildren, her loving and devoted mother, Mrs. Rosa Mae Burton Solomon of Americus, Georgia, her loving sisters, Ms. Geneva Brown, Mrs. Maddie Russell, Mrs. Yvette Dunning, and Ms. Coralie Brown of Americus, Georgia, Mrs. Estella Cleanscale of Columbus, Georgia, and Mrs. Suzette Calhoun of Warner Robins, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Eugene Burton of Americus, Georgia, Mr. John Burton of Kentucky, Mr. William Brown Jr. of Fort Pierce, Florida, Mr. Otis Brown of Americus, Georgia, Mr. Calvin Brown of Leesburg, Georgia, and Mr. James Arthur Brown of Smithville, Georgia. Her uncle, Mr. Charlie Burton of Americus, Georgia. A bonus daughter, Miss Janae Hart of Americus, Georgia. Her god sister, Miss Yolanda Sanford of Americus, Georgia. A host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Viola Burton Williams, aged 54, of 168 Carter Fish Pond Road, Plains, Georgia. Beloved retired educator, Mother Betty Jean Beverly Robertson, age 90, of 1910 South Joe Wright Drive, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, January 20th at the Crisp Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service of beloved retired educator, Mother Betty Jean Beverly Robertson, was held Saturday, January 27th in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, pastor of the Mount Calvary Baptist Church, officiated. The burial followed at the Vienna City Cemetery in Vienna, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted sons, Mr. Mulford Robertson Jr. and his wife, Mrs. Valerie Robertson of Vienna, Georgia, and Mr. Ricky Robertson and his wife, Mrs. Melba Robertson of Lithonia, Georgia. 12 loving grandchildren, her beloved great-grandchildren, a beloved and caring brother, Mr. Ulysses Marshall and his wife, Mrs. Brenda Marshall of Bowie, Maryland. Her sisters-in-law, Mrs. Lori Hucks of Detroit, Michigan, and Mrs. Annie Robinson of St. Petersburg, Florida. Her brother-in-law, Mr. Jerry Robertson Sr. of St. Petersburg, Florida. A host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends to include her Ballarat Social and Civic Club sisters, Mrs. Charlie Mae Lemons, Mrs. Alma Johnson, the Beal family, and her Mount Calvary Baptist Church family survived. Beloved retired educator, Mother Betty Jean Beverly Robertson, age 90, of 1910 South Joe Wright Drive, Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Arthur R. age 53, of Bloomfield, Connecticut, died Tuesday, January 9th at the Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. The funeral service for Mr. Arthur R. McWhite Jr. was held Saturday, January 27th in the sanctuary of the Big Poplar Spring Baptist Church in Unadilla, Georgia. Revolution's Albritton pastor, Minister Mary Whitfield, delivered the eulogy. The burial followed in the churchyard cemetery. Survivors include his devoted and loving parents, Mr. Arthur McWhite Sr. and Mrs. Annelle W. McWhite, his loving children, Mr. Elijah Maxwell McWhite of Connecticut, and Ms. Leah Emily B. McWhite of Stockbridge, Georgia, his beloved brother, Mr. Tony Lamar McWhite of Windsor, Connecticut, his father figure, Mr. Xavier Champlin, his caring girlfriend, Ms. Cassandra Parkman, and a host of cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survived. Mr. Arthur R. McWhite Jr., age 53, of Bloomfield, Connecticut. Again, the family of Miss Shanita LaShawn Smothers of Vienna, Georgia, the family of Miss Robin Lynn Appling of Danville, Virginia, formerly of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Ms. Viola Burton Williams of Americus, Georgia, the family of beloved retired educator Mother Betty Jean Beverly Robertson of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mr. Arthur R. McWhite Jr. of Bloomfield, Connecticut, would like to thank all of their many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you is their prayer. During the past week. It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcements. Minister Clara Lee Fort Collier, age 71, of 409 Posey Street, Vienna, Georgia, died Saturday, January 20th at the Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mr. Frank Collins Jr. of Buffalo, New York, Mr. Christopher Collins of Vienna, Georgia, Mr. Gregory B. Collins of Syracuse, New York, Mr. Jeronica Collins Sr. and Ms. Shan T. Collins of Vienna, Georgia, Ms. Sherry L. Collins and Mr. Willie Frank Collins of Cordele, Georgia, and Ms. Dorothy J. Beezer of Tampa, Florida. 15 loving grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren, her loving sisters, Mrs. Gail Seymour and her husband, Mr. Jonah Seymour, Mrs. Rosa Mays and her husband, Mr. Larry Mays, and Ms. Betty Fort of Syracuse, New York, and Ms. Gloria Fort of Cordele, Georgia. Her loving aunt, Mrs. Jessie Fuller and her husband, Deacon Elmore Fuller of Americus, Georgia. Her beloved in-laws, Ms. Diane Black and Ms. Donna Collier Jones of Unadilla, Georgia, Mr. Larry Collier and his wife, Mrs. Mary Collier, and Mr. James Collier and his wife, Mrs. Retha Collier, and Overseer Annie Reynolds and her husband, Elder Leroy Reynolds of Vienna, Georgia. A host of nieces, nephews, and cousins, other relatives, and many sorry friends to include Miss Leslie Lango, Miss Vivian White, and Mr. Jerry Sutton Sr. of Vienna, Georgia, Ms. Clara McGill, and Dr. Frankie Harmon of Cordele, Georgia, and Miss Betty Nell Thomas of DeSoto, Georgia, survived Minister Clara Lee Fort Collier, age 71, of 409 Posey Street, Vienna, Georgia. The funeral service for Minister Clara Lee Fort Collier will be held today, Sunday, January 28th at 10 o'clock a.m. in the sanctuary of our beloved Fresh Oil Ministries in Vienna, Georgia. The pastor, Prophet Darnell Lundy, will officiate. The eulogy will be delivered by her beloved sister-in-law, Overseer Annie Reynolds. The burial will follow at the Vienna City Cemetery in Vienna, Georgia. Beloved church mother, Mother Lucinda Barrett Ray, age 93, of 4047 Pateville Road, Cordele, Georgia, died Thursday, January 25th at the Crisp Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mrs. Josephine Knight of Palm Bay, Florida, Mr. Charles Ray Jr. of Cordele, Georgia, Mrs. Nelsa Singleton of Palm Bay, Florida, the Reverend Lorinda Ray and his friend Mrs. Fanny Pollock of Cordele, Georgia, Ms. Betty Brown of Jacksonville, Florida, Deacon Godfrey Ray and his wife, Mrs. Brenda Ray of Moultrie, Georgia, Mrs. Marilyn Harper and her husband, Stuart Alfred Harper of Cordele, Georgia, Dr. Jennifer Ray of Savannah, Georgia, Deacon Ronnie Ray and his wife, Minister Cheryl Ray, and Mr. Bobby Ray and his wife, Mrs. Tamika Ray of Cordele, Georgia. 26 beloved grandchildren, 48 great-grandchildren, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive. Beloved church mother, Mother Lucinda Barrett Ray, age 93, of 4047 Pateville Road, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service of beloved church mother, Mother Lucinda Barrett Ray, will be held today, Sunday, January 28th at 3 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary of her beloved Davis Chapel CME Church in Araby, Georgia. The pastor, Reverend Arnell Wilburn, will officiate. Her beloved son, the Reverend Lorinda Ray, will deliver the eulogy. The burial will follow at the Little Rock Church Cemetery in Araby, Georgia. Retired United States Army Staff Sergeant Thomas William McRae Jr., age 65, of 761 North Coney Road, Cordele, Georgia, died Monday, January 8th at his residence. Survivors include his loving and devoted children, Ms. Shabeda McRae of Austell, Georgia, Mrs. Courtney Green, her husband, Mr. John Green of Tampa, Florida, Ms. Erica McRae of Cambridge, England, Ms. Asante McRae of Norfolk, Virginia. 8 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild, a loving sister, Ms. Janice McRae of Augusta, Georgia, 2 aunts, Mrs. Rosemary Brock and her husband, Mr. James Brock of Decatur, Georgia, and Mrs. Marion Street of Cordele, Georgia. Many cousins to include Cameron Cunningham of Sumter, South Carolina, and Ms. Kimberly Street of Cordele, Georgia. A host of other relatives and many sorrowing friends survive. Retired United States Army Staff Sergeant Thomas William McRae Jr., age 65, of 761 North Coney Road, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for retired United States Army Staff Sergeant Thomas William McRae Jr. will be held Wednesday, January 31st at 11 o'clock a.m. in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Brother James Leon Hughes, pastor of the Church of Christ at Hilltop, will officiate. The burial will follow at the Gum Creek Church Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. The public visitation will be Tuesday, January 30th from 1 to 5 o'clock p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Christine Gullidge Leggett, age 68, of 425 Davis Avenue, Barnville, Georgia, died Wednesday, January 24th at the Crisp Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted husband, Mr. Fletcher R. Leggett Jr. of Barnville, Georgia. Her loving and devoted children, Ms. LaTanya Williams of Camden, New Jersey, Ms. Sybil Leggett, and Ms. Labreria Gullidge of Westville, New Jersey. 4 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, her loving sisters, Ms. Beverly McCoy of Ewing, New Jersey, Ms. Lorraine Gullidge of Woodbury, New Jersey, Ms. Michelle Gullidge, and Ms. Patty Ann Gullidge of Camden, New Jersey, Mrs. Nicole Powell, Ms. Lakeisha Powell, and Ms. Yolanda Powell of Trenton, New Jersey. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Stephen Wilcox of the United States Army, and Mr. John Gullidge of Raleigh, North Carolina. 6 sisters-in-law, 4 brothers-in-law, a host of nieces and nephews to include a special nephew, Mr. Reginald Leggett Sr. of Barnville, Georgia. Many cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Christine Gullidge Leggett, age 68, of 425 Davis Avenue, Barnville, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Christine Gullidge Leggett will be held Friday, February 2nd at 11 o'clock a.m. in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Reverend Sadie P. Jackson, pastor of the Bay Point CME Church, will officiate. The public visitation will be Thursday, February 1st from 1 until 5 o'clock p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mother Elnora M. McBurrows, age 104, of 620 Hill Street, Rochelle, Georgia, died Thursday, January 25th at Baptist Village in Waycross, Georgia. Survivors include 3 loving and devoted daughters, Mrs. Georgia Easley of Ewing, New Jersey, Mrs. Louise Craig and her husband, Mr. James Craig of Waycross, Georgia, and Mrs. Mamie R. Canty of Patterson, New Jersey. 8 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren, 7 great-great-grandchildren, 2 great-great-great-grandchildren, a host of nieces, nephews, and cousins, other relatives, and many sorry friends survived. Mother Elnora M. McBurrows, age 104, of 620 Hill Street, Rochelle, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Elnora M. McBurrows will be held Saturday, February 10th at 10 o'clock a.m. in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, Reverend Gary Lucas, pastor of the New Travelers Home Missionary Baptist Church, will officiate. The burial will follow at the Shady Grove Church Cemetery in Abbeville, Georgia. The public visitation will be Friday, February 9th from 1 until 5 o'clock p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Essie Mae Henderson Gay, age 76, of 906 West 20th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Friday, January 19th at her residence. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Ms. Katishi Gay of Cordele, Georgia, Mr. Toriano L. Russ of Atlanta, Georgia, and Ms. Bernadette Youngblood of Albany, Georgia. 12 grandchildren, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Essie Mae Henderson Gay, age 76, of 906 West 20th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Essie Mae Henderson Gay will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. Mr. Bobby L. Foster, age 59, of 722 Beale Street, Americus, Georgia, died Sunday, January 21st at the Houston Healthcare in Warner Robins, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Betty Foster of Americus, Georgia, his loving and devoted children, Mr. Dontavius Houston of Perry, Georgia, Mr. Devontae Tucker Sr., Mr. Bobby Foster Jr., Ms. Latoya Mabel, Mr. Tasha Robinson, and Ms. Wakithia Robinson of Americus, Georgia. His beloved father, Mr. Matthew L. Lewis Sr., his loving sisters, Ms. Ruby Denard, Ms. Glenda Foster, Ms. Brenda Foster, Ms. Vanda Thompson, Ms. Carolyn Cladd, Ms. Mary Taylor, Ms. Yvonne Gordon, Ms. Janie Jones, Ms. Gloria Franklin, Ms. Lucille Davis, Ms. Janice Davis, Ms. Sheila Dowdell, Ms. Catherine Dowdell, Ms. Pamela Dowdell, and Ms. Carolyn Dowdell. His beloved brothers, Mr. Clifford Thomas of Americus, Georgia, Mr. Eric Foster of Preston, Georgia, Mr. Matthew L. Lewis Jr., and Mr. Clarence Lewis of Americus, Georgia, and Mr. Willie J. Lewis of West Palm Beach, Florida. A host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mr. Bobby L. Foster, age 59, of 722 Beale Street, Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Bobby L. Foster will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors serving Cordele and Vienna will be in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Friends, that concludes our funeral announcements for today. And as always, at this time, we would like to remind you concerning the advanced funeral planning that's available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. If you have questions that you would like answered in regards to advanced funeral planning, we invite you to give us a call and we might set up an appointment. We'll be so glad to sit down and talk with you in regards to advanced funeral planning. We would also like to remind you that whole life insurance is available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. We have a licensed insurance agent on staff, and we'll be so happy to answer any insurance questions that you have. So please give us a call at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, and we will set an appointment, and we'll be so glad to sit down and answer any questions that you might have in regards to advanced funeral planning, as well as whole life insurance questions. And now for our announcements. The Pleasant Hill Baptist Church of Bonneville, Georgia, cordially invites each of you to share with them as they celebrate their annual Family and Friends Day service on Sunday, February 4th, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. Along with their regular morning service, they will also be recognized this time to observe Black History Month. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Reverend Deacon Jimmy Redding, Chairman of Deacons, Sister Gloria Lucas is the reporter, Reverend Rodney Duncan is the pastor. The Mount Moriah Baptist Church of Unadilla, Georgia, first anniversary for his beloved pastor, Reverend Edward Lester, will be observed on Sunday, February the 4th at 1:30 p.m. Pastor Gary Lucas of the Springfield Baptist Church and New Travelers Home Baptist Church will be the guest speaker. Reverend Edward Lester is the pastor. The St. Mark Baptist Church invites everyone to join them as they welcome their new pastor, Reverend James E. Jordan Sr., on Sunday, February the 4th. The service will begin at 2 o'clock p.m., and everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Sister Rudy Wolfark is the secretary. Deacon Benny Howard is the chairman of deacons. Reverend James E. Jordan Sr., pastor-elect. The New Beulah Baptist Church of Lee County annual Men and Women's Day celebration will be observed on Sunday, February the 4th at 10 o'clock a.m. Deacon Anthony Robinson of Warner Robins, Georgia will be the guest speaker. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. The unity colors are red and white. Sister Rosemary Jones, secretary. Deacon Bobby Robinson Jr., chairman of deacons. Reverend Christopher Perry is the pastor. The Mount Abel Baptist Church of DeSoto, Georgia annual Men in Black and Women in Red program will be observed on Saturday, February the 17th at 3 o'clock p.m. The women's guest speaker will be Ms. Yolanda Robinson of the New Beulah Baptist Church. The men's guest speaker will be Deacon Seneca Harris of the New Zion Baptist Church. The sermon will be delivered by Reverend Dr. Marvin Brown of the New Providence Baptist Church. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Reverend Samuel Stokes is the pastor. The McAfee Grove Baptist Church of Leesburg extends a cordial invitation to everyone to worship with them during this family night service on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Small class studies are held on Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. You may join them for the Sunday morning worship service at 9 o'clock a.m. and you may join them by calling 425-436-6341. The access code is 708058. Minister Tawanda Daniels, secretary. Dr. Robert L. Morgan Sr. is the pastor. The Spring Hill Baptist Church of Cordele, Georgia invites everyone to worship with them during this Georgia, Blessed and Highly Favored of Warner Robins, Georgia, the Gospel Stars of Lilly, Georgia. Also appearing on our program will be Bubba and the Volunteers of Chester, Georgia, along with other invited guests. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. For more information, at Brother Norris Mathis at 229-417-0034 or Minister Gloria W. Mathis at 229-947-1516. The 17th gospel anniversary of our beloved singer, Brother Norris Mathis. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. You're cordially invited to worship at the Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church today. Sunday school begins at 9 o'clock a.m., worship service at 9:30 a.m. Mother Mary Henderson, Church Mother, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Chairman of Deacons, Reverend Dr. K.M. Williams is the pastor. The Mount Zion First African Baptist Church conference call scheduled for Sunday morning begins at 10 o'clock a.m. Prayer Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 o'clock noon. Bible study is held each Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. The call-in number is 339-209-6419. Deacon Joe Wedge is Chairman of Deacons. Dr. Dan James III is the pastor. The Gethsemane Baptist Church invites everyone to worship with them in this morning worship service, which begins at 10:30 a.m. Mother Mary Butler, Church Mother, Deacon Johnny Wilson, Chairman of Deacons, Reverend Cecil Straughter is the pastor. You're cordially invited to worship at the New Oak Road Baptist Church. Sunday for Sunday school begins at 9:15 a.m., worship service at 10 o'clock a.m. Face covering is required. Deacon Alonzo Jones, Chairman of Deacons, Reverend W.W. Wilson is the pastor. The Greater Gum Creek Baptist Church extends a cordial invitation for each of you to worship with them each first, second, third, and fourth Sunday. Each Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Mother Norma Solomon, Church Mother, Deacon Zachary Fields, Chairman of Deacons, Reverend Joseph Hagenbrook is the pastor. You're cordially invited to worship at the Mount Calvary Baptist Church today. Sunday school begins at 9:30 a.m., worship service at 10:45 a.m. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Deacon Leon Spears, Chairman of Deacons, Reverend Isaac H. Owens is the pastor. Friends, that concludes our announcements for today. And now for our dedications. Our first selection this morning is dedicated in love and memory of Mother Maddie Florine Mumphrey, who departed this life January 26, 2005. Dedication requested by the Mumphrey family. Gone but not forgotten. In love and memory of Mother Jewel Easter May Byron, who departed this life January 28, 2022. Dedication requested by her loving children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and the entire family, as well as the members of the Spring Hill Baptist Church who paused to remember the life of Mother Jewel Easter May Byron, gone but not forgotten. In love and memory of Mrs. Vera Cutlers, who departed this life January 28, 1998, dedication requested by the family. In loving memory of Deacon Willie D. Fagan, who would have celebrated his birthday January 31st, dedication requested by his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the entire Fagan family. In loving memory of Mr. Marvin Clark, who would have celebrated his birthday January 31st, dedication requested by the family. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish a very special happy birthday to Mr. Corey Pate, who celebrated his birthday on Thursday, January 25th. Dedication requested by his grandmother, Mrs. Carolyn Beal Thomas, and the entire Beal family. Also, happy birthday to Mr. Shedrick Williams of Duluth, Georgia, who celebrated his birthday on Friday, January 26th. Dedication requested by his aunt, Mrs. Carolyn Beal Thomas, and the entire Beal family. And one other special birthday, we would like to take this opportunity to wish a very special happy birthday to Brother Stewart Cleveland R. Lemons. Happy birthday to him, to Stuart Lemons. He will be celebrating his birthday on tomorrow, Monday, January 29th. We say happy birthday to him. He is the oldest staff member of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And we're so happy that he was able to share with us on yesterday during the funeral services for educator Mother Betty Robertson. Happy birthday to Stuart Cleveland R. Lemons. His birthday dedication comes from his family, his grandchildren, the entire Lemons family, as well as the members of the Bethel CMB Church, and all the staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. We say happy birthday to Stuart Cleveland R. Lemons, who will celebrate his birthday on tomorrow, Monday, January 29th. Happy birthday, Brother Lemons, and we pray that God will bless you to see many, many more. Our selection this morning is dedicated to Mr. Keith Muntz and family, Mrs. Eddie Mae Cooks and family, for Mrs. Willie Pearl Reed and family, Bishop Maggie Washington and family, Elder Garner and Mrs. Beulah Morgan and family, Mrs. Ola Lofton and family, Miss Gail Chanel and family, Mrs. Juanita Mumford and family, Miss Katrina Jones and family, for Miss Nancy Butler and family, Mr. and Mrs. A.B. Levan and family, the Dennis family, Miss Sidney Ruff and family, Miss Annette Ruff and family, Miss Gwinnett Ruff and family, Mother Willie Mae Leary and family, Miss Valerie Carter and family, Mrs. Barbara Roberts and family, Mr. Anthony Williams and family, Mr. Sean Hutchins and family, the Shema Jackson and family, the Redding family, the Lawton and Epps family, for the Wilson family, for the Rogers family, Mr. Charles and Miss Vivian Daniels and family. This selection this morning is also being dedicated to Miss Inez Hentley and family, Miss Claudette Armstrong and family, Miss Esther Louise Johnson and family. Also for the Christopher family, the Mobley family, for Mother Mary Henderson and family, Mother Jessie Harmon and family, for Miss Costello Levant and family, for Ms. Dorothy Westbrook and family, Commissioner Vestaville Shepherd and family, Reverend Plessy Nelson and family, Reverend and Mrs. Nelson Maynard and family, Reverend Fred and Mrs. Jackie Brown and family, for Reverend and Mrs. Jeff Wilson and family. This selection is dedicated to Reverend Artist and Mrs. LaShawn Westbrook and family, for Deacon Charlie and for Deacon and Mrs. Charlie Westbrook and family, for Mr. Donald and Mrs. Ruby Daniels and family. Our first selection this morning.
There's so many wonderful things. Now, you may not be able to do that fast kind of church, but can we do that little slow kind of church rock? Rock right here like this. Y'all don't know how to do the two-step. Come on. Some of y'all ain't moving yet. Come on. Clap your hands with us. Come on. Y'all ready to have church tonight? There's so many wonderful things about Jesus. Can't tell them all. There are so many wonderful things about Jesus. Come on, y'all didn't have good tonight. There are so many wonderful things about Him.
Following announcements. Minister Clara Lee Fort Collier, age 71, of 409 Posey Street, Vienna, Georgia, died Saturday, January 20th at the Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia. The funeral service for Minister Clara Lee Fort Collier will be held today, Sunday, January 28th at 10 o'clock a.m. in the sanctuary of her beloved Fresh Oil Ministries in Vienna, Georgia. The pastor, Prophet Darnell Lundy, will officiate. The eulogy will be delivered by Overseer Annie Reynolds. The burial will follow at the Vienna City Cemetery in Vienna, Georgia. Beloved church mother, Mother Lucinda Barrett Ray, age 93, of 4047 Pateville Road, Cordele, Georgia, died Thursday, January 25th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for beloved church mother, Mother Lucinda Barrett Ray, will be held today, Sunday, January 28th at 3 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary of her beloved Davis Chapel CME Church in Araby, Georgia. The pastor, Reverend Arnell Wilburn, will officiate. Her beloved son, the Reverend Melinda Ray, will deliver the eulogy. The burial will follow at the Little Rock Church Cemetery in Araby, Georgia. Retired United States Army Staff Sergeant Thomas William McRae Jr., age 65, of 761 North Coney Road, Cordele, Georgia, died Monday, January 8th at his residence. The funeral service for retired United States Army Staff Sergeant Thomas William McRae Jr. will be held Wednesday, January 31st at 11 o'clock a.m. in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Brother James L. Hughes, pastor of the Church of Christ at Hilltop, will officiate. The burial will follow at the Gum Creek Church Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. The public visitation will be Tuesday, January 30th from 1 until 5 o'clock p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Christine Gullidge Leggett, age 68, of 425 Davis Avenue, Byronville, Georgia, died Wednesday, January 24th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Christine Gullidge Leggett will be held Friday, February 2nd at 11 o'clock a.m. in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Reverend Sadie P. Jackson, pastor of the Bay Point CND Church, will officiate. The public visitation will be Thursday, February 1st from 1 until 5 o'clock p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mother Elnora M. McBurrows, age 104, of 620 Hill Street, Rochelle, Georgia, died Thursday, January 25th at Baptist Village in Waycross, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Elnora M. McBurrows will be held Saturday, February 10th at 10 o'clock a.m. in the chapel of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, Reverend Gary Lucas, pastor of New Travelers Home Missionary Baptist Church, will officiate. The burial will follow at the Shady Road Church Cemetery in Abbeville, Georgia. The public visitation will be Friday, February 9th from 1 until 5 o'clock p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Essie Mae Henderson Gay, age 76, of 906 West 20th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Friday, January 19th at her residence. The funeral service for Mrs. Essie Mae Henderson Gay will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. Mr. Bobby L. Foster, age 59, of 722 Beale Street, Americus, Georgia, died Sunday, January 21st at Houston Healthcare in Warner Robins, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Bobby L. Foster will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. The J.W. Williams funeral directors serving Cordele and Vienna will be in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Our final selection this morning is dedicated to the family whose loved ones were laid to rest during the past week. The family of Miss Shanita LaShawn Smothers of Vienna, Georgia. The family of Miss Robin Lynn Appling of Danville, Virginia, formerly of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Viola Burton Williams of Americus, Georgia. The family of beloved retired educator Mother Betty Jean Beverly Robertson of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Arthur R. McWhite Jr. of Bloomfield, Connecticut. This selection is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones will be laid to rest during this week. The family of Minister Clara Lee Fort Collier of Vienna, Georgia. The family of beloved church mother, Mother Lucinda Barrett Ray of Cordele, Georgia. The family of retired United States Army Staff Sergeant Thomas William McRae Jr. of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Christine Gullidge Leggett of Byronville, Georgia. The family of Mother Elnora M. McBurrows of Rochelle, Georgia. The family of Miss Essie May Henderson Gay of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Bobby L. Foster of Americus, Georgia. This selection is dedicated to all of our sick and shut-ins, to all of our patients in the local and surrounding hospitals, nursing home, rehabilitation centers, to our ministers and their spouses and family, to our retired educators, to the men and women serving in the armed forces, both stateside and abroad, to all veterans, and to everyone who listens to our program each and every Sunday morning. It is a pleasure for us to bring this program to you. Our program this morning is dedicated to the memory of our past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. We dedicate our program this morning to our president and CEO, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, his wife, Mrs. Clonka Wilkerson Parker, and the Parker family. We also dedicate this program to each of you who tune in each and every Sunday morning to share with us. Again, it is a pleasure for us to bring this program to you. Dedicate this program this morning, this dedication to my wife, Mr. Kathleen Owens, and to our children and grandchildren. To each of you this morning, we thank you for sharing with us. The selection this morning is also dedicated to Mr. Marlon and Mrs. Alvita Paul and family, Mr. and Mrs. Courtney Oliver and family, Ms. Dorothy Bryant and family, Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd Bridges and family, Mr. Roscoe Severance and family, Deacon Leon and Minister Kathy Spears and family, Mr. and Mrs. Greg Peterson and family, Ms. Connie James and family, Mr. and Mrs. Lee Johnson and family, Mother Calvin Wallace and family, Mother Marie Porter and family, for Ms. Cynthia Pollock and family, Mr. James and Mrs. Lucy Trice and family, Mr. Ross and Ms. Alicia Williams and family, Mr. and Mrs. Keith Wilson and family, Deacon and Mrs. Frank Brown and family, Ms. Gail Darby and family, Ms. Bernadette Redding and family, Mr. Carlo King and family, Ms. Zelda Johnson and family, Ms. Myra Mitchell and family, for Ms. Alice Bryant and family, retired Fire Chief Augusta Telfair and family, Mr. and Mrs. Larry Smith and family, Mr. and Mrs. Kelvin Morrell and family, Ms. Deborah M. Armstrong and family, Mother Thelma Porter and family. Our final selection this morning.
Everybody on the Lord, Jesus, He's the lily of the valley, a bright and morning star. Good to know the Lord. Good to know Jesus. Everybody on the Lord.
us this morning. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Tune in again on next Sunday morning. In your time of need, contact the competent, capable, and dependable staff at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
Some of these days, well,